How to cope when your kid is the aggressive child on the playground. Welcome to Empowered Kids TV Village Talk. I am so excited to have you here. You're here because you know that every family has the potential to be great, and you're willing to push the boundaries of your mindset to create the family of your dreams. Today we welcome back Erin Taylor to Village Talk, and I'm so excited to have you, Erin. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm so excited to be back.
For those of you that haven't seen Erin's previous Village Talk session, please go back and check those episodes. And I just want to share a bit about Erin. Erin is a mom, a parenting coach, and an author. Her book, Connection and Kindness, The Key to Changing the World Through Parenting, will shift your mindset on parenting. Her podcast, Powerful Parenting for Today's Kids, is enjoyed by parents around the world. Passionate about helping families and showing how we can move from just surviving tragedies to thriving because of them, you can learn a world of resources and tools and techniques from Erin. Check out Erin's work at erin-taylor.com. All right, Erin, let's get into today's question. Today's question comes from Rachel, and Rachel writes, I am tearing my hair out about my 4-year-old little boy. He is aggressive towards other children. He is absolutely fine at nursery and at home. But in other social situations where there are other children, he will push, hit, shout, even steal toys. Often completely unprovoked. It's been happening for a while, but my family has been going through a really tough time, so I've given him some slack and thought he would grow out of it. But every time we go to a party or to the playground, I know that he will attack someone within minutes. He is such a lovely boy the rest of the time. I just don't know what to do. Any thoughts? And she also goes on to say, I'm at a loss at what to do because my son is being moved into that space of being a bully. Is there anything we can do to help? What do you think about that one, Erin?
Oh, I feel for Rachel
Yeah.
and her son. That's such a tough position to be in. And one thing that she mentioned, which I think is really crucial, is that she said her and her family have been going through a tough time. So we don't really know exactly what the tough time is, whether it's an illness or a death or a financial struggle or who knows what in the world could be going on. But kids are sponges and they're really mirrors to ourselves. So if we're stressed, they're going to pick up on that. And if our home is chaotic, because of whatever the hard time is, we might not be able to spend as much time with them as we would like to or we used to. Rachel might not be as present with her little boy as she once was because this tough time is happening. Her mind and her attention is probably split in a million different directions because of whatever it is. And so her boy, I believe, is probably screaming out, crying out for her attention and for some loving boundaries, probably. When life spins out of control for us, it also spins out of control for them because we are kind of like their anchor. You know, a parent is a child's anchor. And so if the anchor gets pulled out of the bedrock or the sand below and below the water and it starts floating around, the child has no more anchor. And so as out of control as we feel, they also feel out of control. So what I would suggest to Rachel is that he sounds like he could benefit from some loving boundaries. It's really hard to put boundaries or to reinforce boundaries when we feel so stressed and so spread thin from challenging times, but there's never a more important time to have those boundaries than right in that hard moment.
How would you suggest, Erin, so for a mom where she feels her son, he seems to be fine at home, but only when they go out is he really acting up in this way? So how would you suggest she kind of moves into that space of creating some loving boundaries, given that he's given her two different sort of behavior in the home and out of the home?
Well, you said he's 4, right?
Yes.
So at 4 years old, he is old enough to begin to understand the concept of boundaries. And so what I would encourage Rachel to do before they arrive at the park, maybe if they're driving there, before they get out of the car, or if they're walking there right before they walk out of the house, I would remind her little boy about her expectations for their fun time at the park.
Okay.
So she can deliver that in a positive, upbeat way. We're going to have so much fun today at the park. I'm really looking forward to it, and I bet you are too. But let's just remember what we need to do when we're at the park. We need to play nicely with other kids. We need to practice taking turns with each other and being kind and keeping our hands to ourselves. So not a lot of negative. Remember, don't hit other kids and don't yell at them and don't take their turn and don't do this. More like take it off of the negative, because what we focus on is what we're going to get. So let's focus on the positive, the things we want to see. Let's see more turn taking, sharing, kindness. Let's be nice to our friends at the park. And then when they get to the park, she can catch him being good. So if he takes turns with a little playmate, or he shares his toy, then she can catch him and say, "Oh, that is so great. I love how you remembered what we were going to work on today. You shared, or you took turns, or you were very kind to that little boy or that little girl." And then that kind of reinforces that. So giving him the expectations, again, is back to boundaries, right?
Yes.
It reinforces. She's set down the boundaries by saying, this is what we have to do at the park. And then when he actually does it, she can reinforce the boundary by saying, hey, you did a great job. I'm so proud of you. You should be proud of yourself too.
I love that. I love the fact that what you do with boundaries is also show kids what you expect from them. Show them that you expect them to behave in their best selves, but also then reinforce that when you see them doing, because a lot of time kids get our attention when they've done the opposite. Yeah, when they've fallen out of our expectation, that's when they get all of our attention. Undivided, I'm cross. When they're doing well, we sit chatting away, and we don't validate those things. Then we don't say, oh my gosh, that was amazing, Sharon, that was lovely that you took turns. And those are the things that the kids really need to say, okay, I'm doing well here, now I'm getting your attention. So I really love not just how you've given information in terms of setting the boundaries, but how we kind of reinforce them by validating when our kids have done a good job in essence.
And then also, there's every likelihood that this little boy is not going to necessarily go to the park and share every time and take turns every time and be nice every time. So there is every possibility and likelihood that the little boy is going to continue his pattern of, maybe he's going to hit a child, maybe he's going to butt in front of the child and go down the slide first. Who knows what he might do. But if Rachel has set the expectation first before they get there, and then they get there and he does one of the things that he's been doing in his behavior pattern, she can gently pull him aside and she can remind him, remember what I said before we got to the park today? We were going to work on sharing and taking turns and being kind. So we're going to need to keep working on that, because if we can't share and take turns and be kind, we're going to have to go home, and then we won't be able to play at the park, and that won't be any fun.
And I love that.
Back to the boundaries, right?
Yes, it is. But now the child has clear expectations of what those boundaries are. Yeah, so he's not caught off guard. Why are you taking me home? Because it's been set before, and it's something that he understands. This is what I'm supposed to do in this environment, and if I haven't done that, then this environment is not a space that's safe for us all to continue to play. So I love that.
And the mom, Rachel, can deliver that message if she's in the right space inside of her. She can deliver that message in a loving, kind, compassionate way that models for her son exactly the kind of behavior she's looking for him to do.
Yes.
Because if she goes to him and she yanks him really hard, let's imagine he butts in front of a kid on the slide and takes a turn, and the other kid's up at the top of the slide crying that he butted in front of her or something. And then she goes to the bottom of the slide and yanks her kid by the hand and says, "Come over here. That's ridiculous. I told you we were going to share, and you didn't, and you're not taking turns. We're out of here." So if she lays into him, which I'm sure we've all been guilty of doing, but if she lays into him and then takes him away, she's just modeled the exact behavior that she doesn't want to see.
Yeah.
So it's kind of really funny how that works. It reminds me of a cartoon of a little child yelling and then, or being noisy or mean or something, but in a loud way, and then the parent saying, "I told you not to yell." Wait a second.
Oh, I love it. There's just one more thing I wanted to touch on here for this mom. And you mentioned it earlier in our conversation. You talked about when we are having stressful situations within our home, our kids pick up on that energy. Do you have any tips? Because the fact is, the reality of life is things happen, right? We all go through our trials, we go through the peaks and the valleys. But if we know as parents that we're experiencing a shift in the energy in our home because something stressful has come up, what can we do to sort of protect our kids from spilling over into behavior because they're picking up on that stressful energy within the home?
Well, it's interesting. I just had this conversation with a client this morning, actually, and she's also going through a stressful time in her life. And what we came up with is when you as a parent are going through a stressful time, and you're probably more busy than normal because you have all your normal life stuff, and then you have to now deal with whatever the issue is that's cropped up. Now you're extra busy dealing with so many different things. That's the exact time when you need self-care more than ever. So the busier you get, the more desperately you need to take care of yourself. So whatever is going on in Rachel's home, I can't stress strongly enough how important it is for her to find ways to recharge her own batteries, fill her own bucket, and care for herself. Because when she's getting worn down by the stress of it all, then she can't show up 100% for her son. And in a better time, she certainly wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
And so whether it means finding just 5 minutes a day to meditate, or having someone come and take care of her son so that she can go take a walk in the fresh air, or whatever kind of self-care, whatever it looks like for her. Maybe she needs a nap. It could be anything, but whatever recharges her and makes her feel whole again is vitally important to find a way to bring it in during those stressful times.
I love it. Okay, so I'm going to recap for Rachel with all of the tips that we have. So the first was to really find a way to put loving boundaries in place. Again, make it light, bring lots of love and kindness as we set those boundaries. Allow her son to understand the expectations for his behavior in different environments in a loving and kind way. And then find within yourself, hold that space to be able to reinforce those boundaries in a loving and kind way. Catch him when he's doing a great job and call it out, so that we can reinforce that. And when life really stresses us out, that's the time we need to build up on our self-care. Is there anything else you think we should add to that, Erin?
I guess it goes back to the compassion, right? Sometimes hard times come and it's hard to deal with them. And so if Rachel can just give herself some loving compassion and just acknowledge that it's hard, she's having a tough time, her little boy's having a tough time, and she's doing the best she can.
Perfect. I love it. Thanks again so much for joining us on this episode of Village Talk, Erin.
Thank you, Nicole.
And please be sure to check Erin's work. Erin, amazing work, and her coaching is at erin-taylor.com. Thank you for joining us for this episode. We're all about sharing and supporting this village. So if you found value in this episode, be sure to share it with your family and friends. And remember, this is a weekly show. So if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you'll be notified of our next episode. As we always say in the village, you're just one connection away. With love and gratitude, empower us. Until next time.